We are about a week away from Fantastic Four Full Steps hitting cinemas. I really hope this turns out to be a good movie because after the absolute unmitigated disaster that was James Gunn's Superman, I am really hoping for something good to come from some one of these superhero movies. But Marvel Comics, in their desperate attempt to be as stupid as possible, have decided that, hey, you know what would be the best thing to do? Let's put out another number one issue of Fantastic Four, even though we already did this a little while ago. And this time we're going to push the feminist narrative that Sue Storm is the leader to match up with the movie. Well, that failed miserably. Miserably. The story was crap, and the whole thing comes off as just another bold-faced attempt to push something, and everybody saw it. But luckily, I don't have to go through the whole book with you. I'm going to spare you that. Fandom Pulse has a good article on it, so we're going to check that out. So let's dive right into it here. Marvel Comics relaunches Fantastic Four to add the upcoming movie's feminism with Sue Storm as leader. Yes, because this makes no sense, but let's do it. I had a discussion with somebody and was telling me that Sue Storm has always been the leader. I said, no. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, is the leader of the Fantastic Four. But when you're so desperate to push something and apparently gender swapping the Silver Surfer wasn't enough, no, let's have Sue Storm be the leader. Sure, why not? Marvel's relaunch of Fantastic Four with another all-new number one first issue is beyond just a cynical marketing ploy. It's an attempt to push the feminism narrative that's pervasive in the upcoming movie, where Sue Storm is now the leader of the Fantastic Four. That's gonna go over like a lead balloon. When Jack Kirby created the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards was the leader and patriarch. But in modern corporate entertainment, this is something that cannot be tolerated. Almost all of the entertainment, especially when it comes to Marvel movies, has men getting emasculated and replaced by female counterparts. The new Fantastic Four iteration appears to be much of the same. The movie is about a week from coming out, and all signs from the trailers and early information point to Sue Storm being treated as the leader of Marvel's first family, while Reed Richards predictably takes a back seat. It's a trend in film portraying men as weaker or less competent than the female sex that's been a massive propaganda push towards feminism across the board in entertainment. And this is why all this woke nonsense keeps failing. And I use the term woke because this is what they always try to do with these things. There have been many female characters in comics, in movies, in TV series for years. They were strong, confident, powerful women that we all liked. But the same thing, how these people try to act like black people didn't exist before 2017 when they created them. Apparently, women in entertainment didn't exist before that same time. So now they have to put out these ridiculous stories that they emasculate these men and act like this is fantastic storytelling. And if you don't like it, you're just a sexist. And then you have the people who must jump on board anything because they don't want to be labeled as anything else. They will jump on board and wave flags and say, yes, I was going on, only to just end up embarrassing themselves. Sue Storm is a fantastic character. Nobody has a problem with that. But trying to act like, stories that came out with Sue Storm back in the day, how many years ago, and then act like this is somehow relevant today. No, I keep giving the narrative. When you look at Batman, when Batman came out years ago compared to now, different. Same thing with Superman. When Superman first came out, he couldn't fly. He used to leap tall buildings. That was it. These characters evolve, the stories evolve. When you literally try to push your own agendas, they don't evolve, they just become really, really ridiculous. Moreover, the movie has replaced the Silver Surfer with a female version of the character, which they're which are doing a marketing campaign to say is not really a race war because it's a different character. As fans have rightly pointed out, they're sick of characters getting this kind of treatment. Silver Surfer is a male character. That's what the character's always been that. Galactus had other heralds. You could have gone with Nova. You could have gone with Nova, but you chose not to do it. You chose not to do it because Galactus's first herald is the Silver Surfer, and the Silver Surfer is male. So you said, no, we need to the gender swap that because this is what happens. The same way they do this crap all the time and then act like you're supposed to sit there and love it. It never works. It never works. So these are some panels from the story here, and I still do not know what's going on with Johnny and that goatee looking nonsense one than the other. Something is going on with Doom and when they're fighting with the other one, and Doom end up sending them into different points in the past, and then they all pretty much got back very easily. It was really, really ridiculous and wasn't a really interesting story at all. But with the film coming out, Marvel Comics isn't letting a promotional stunt go to waste. They're relaunching Fantastic Four with another all-new #1. First is item for fans to jump in on, despite not even changing creative teams for the Switch. Yeah, because they're relaunching it with a new #1, and yet it isn't actually a #1 because it's the same people writing it, and the story is just continuing. They just call it #1 because it's coming out before the movie. So they're trying to rake in some kind of marketing ploy and just make themselves look really ridiculous doing it. It's one of the most naked attempts to extract funds out of fans in recent history. Yep. With the rampant reboots and relaunches becoming more and more prevalent, they did something similar with Amazing Spider-Man #1 earlier this year, though that one didn't appear to be tied to a movie. No, it wasn't tied to a movie. It was tied to the fact that they wanted to just relaunch it so they could continue to ruin Peter Parker's life. Because I don't know why you need a relaunch to do that, but hey, whatever works for you. The issue is yet another fight between the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom, showing exactly how little comics have left in the tank in terms of creativity, focused on mining established properties rather than doing anything interesting. Marvel put out Doctor Doom has taken over the world. And as you all may have noticed, I haven't done any kind of review on it because I checked on it and it's the most mundane, boring pack of crap you could find. Doctor Doom taking over the world is something that should shake the foundation of Marvel. It is just ridiculous, pathetic, and nonsensical. Honestly, they could have never told the story and that would have actually been better because it doesn't do anything. It's just nonsense at the beginning with, vampires are like immigrants and Doom is somehow some kind of reference for Trump. Was really ridiculous. Honestly, I haven't even bothered to check it out afterwards. I've just been so stupid. The team gets separated and sent back to different points in time where they have to find each other, something that's also been done in an FF comic before. Like I said, it's a really ridiculous story. They find these some kind of time stone things, they find them very easily, and it's just pretty much nonsensical. But this is the thing here, where they have it here, because this is what Sue Storm is saying here. And that's me, Sue Storm, the invisible woman. I bend light and energy and I make force fields with my mind. I lead the team. Somebody actually told me that they checked out after reading that one line. They were like, you know what? I'm not in for this nonsense, and they're done. They're done. Continues. We're the Fantastic Four. I brought us here because Doctor Doom has taken over the planet and today we're going to stop him. Today we're going to save the world. As far as I'm aware, Reed Richards is the leader and Doctor Doom and Reed have an ongoing battle because, the one Doom always wants to prove that he's smarter than Reed Richards. I don't know what kind of nonsense they're playing here, but that's what they're doing. However, this new number one also added a sinister feminism to it, trying to bring the comic in line with what the movie's portraying. In the narration, there's a panel where Sue Storm says unequivocally, "I lead the team." Yep, replacing Reed Richards in his traditional role. There have been times where Sue has led the team before, but that was generally because Reed was missing, not because she's simply usurping his authority. Yes, it has happened. Sue has led the team when Reed wasn't there. But nobody's not saying Sue Storm isn't capable, but she's not the leader. It's that simple. Reed gets thrown off the panel in this presentation, showing he's not as important as the male patriarch figure in the book. But that's it. But that it's all Sue's show. This is exactly the narrative Hollywood pushes in most movies, and to have it both in the movie and the comic, and to relaunch Fantastic Four to push this message is beyond insulting to fans. Nobody's buying this ever the same way nobody buys this crap continuously. Sue Storm is not the leader of the Fantastic Four. Sue Storm is a great character. Nobody's not saying no. But trying to act like she's somehow supposed to be the leader because you're trying to get it in line with this movie is nonsensical. DC did the same thing with Superman, with the change, the retcon thing, the changes in the Superman wasn't the start of the age of heroes. In that, no, met like you better always been wrong as Superman is just, he was there. These things don't work, and this blatant nonsense needs to stop. But that's what Marvel Comics has done. Tried a pathetic relaunch of Fantastic Four, even though it's not a relaunch and not a number one, just to push and say, hey, you know what? Sue Storm is the leader, and people have just checked out and don't give a crap. Good work as always, Marvel. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. You'll be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.